Hello there, we're here, back with another video. And today we're going to be looking at the newest all-powerful amulet that was just released, the Essence of Finality. I should note that there was a pocket slot item, the Brooch of the Gods, but I decided against covering it as I won't be buying it, and felt it was inappropriate for me to cover in this video as I have no actual experience on it. This video will be split into 4 parts, with the first covering the requirements for making the item. The latter parts of the video will cover its abilities, testing out special attack weapons stored in the amulet, and my overall thoughts on the amulet. To make this item, you need an alchemical hydrix, an amulet of souls, and a reaper necklace. On top of that, you need 99 crafting, and you combine the 3 items together to make a uber amulet called the Essence of Finality. The alchemical hydrix is made with a hydrix and the following invention components: 50 Fortunate, 50 Refined, 10 Precious, and 2 Rumbling components. The most expensive of these are the Fortunate components, which only come from clue rewards, and each one goes for about 1 to 1.5 mil right now. The Amulet of Souls is made by making a Hydrix amulet and enchanting it. The same goes for the Reaper necklace, as it's a Hydrix necklace that's been enchanted. If you already own an Amulet of Souls or Reaper necklace, you can use it in the recipe. You just need to have the item repaired up to 100% to be able to craft with them, so repair it with an onyx if you need to. If you're going to be making your own alchemical hydrix, you will need 117 invention to be able to unlock the blueprint and make the alchemical hydrix. This can be boosted with an extreme invention potion as low as level 100. Now that we know how to make it, let's look into its effects, and boy, it has a lot of them. So let's start with the easy one, the stats. It has a plus 56 style bonus, which is plus 10 higher than the Amulet of Souls, and each increase in style bonus represents about a 0.07% increase in DPS. From that alone, we have an increase of 0.7% DPS from the amulet in comparison with just having an Amulet of Souls in our setup. On top of that, it now has a 7 prayer bonus compared to 5 on the Amulet of Souls, which is nice, but it doesn't do too much in the long run. The next special effect of the amulet is that it keeps both the effects of the Reaper necklace and the Amulet of Souls. Yes, it keeps both of them, but let's start with the Amulet of Souls specials. Soul Split has a 50% chance to heal 25 to 50% more. This ends up on average being 18.75% more healing. It also makes Protection Prayers now give a 60% damage reduction instead of their base 50%, which overall makes a base 20% damage reduction, because if you're not using a Protection Prayer, a hit that would normally hit you 2k would then hit as low as 800 with the Amulet of Souls and Protection Prayers on, versus 1k with just the Protection Prayers on, so that's where the 20% comes from. And the Reaper necklace gives you a plus 3 hit chance buff. It works by each successful hit that you land will give you a 0.1 hit chance boost for 54 seconds, capping at plus 3%, meaning that if you are constantly attacking an opponent, you should be able to maintain the plus 3% hit chance boost. Stuff like reflect mechanics and phase transitions can lead to a long time not attacking the boss, which can mean your hit chance buff gets below 3%. Hit chance buffs are very powerful because they additively increase your accuracy, so if you had 75% accuracy without the buff, you would now have 78% accuracy with max stacks, which represents a 4% increase in DPS. Generally, the lower your accuracy is, the more powerful the buff is. I did some math on some of the bosses where we don't have 100% accuracy with T92s, T90 Prayers, Elder Overloads, and a Zerker Aura active, and decided to highlight 2 of them. We have Nex and Virago. Virago, you have about 80% accuracy, but that's boosted to 83% if you have max stacks. And then for Nex, you have 93%, which can go up to 96% with max stat. For clarity, all of these accuracies assume that there are 0 affinity buffs on the monster. And last, but certainly not least, we have the special attack storage. And this might be its most powerful ability. You can use any item with a special attack on the amulet to store the special attack within the amulet. It also unlocks an HP ability that will change itself based on the special stored in the amulet. This means that you can use your regular high tier weapons to use the special attack. So instead of me switching off to my Gothic Staff, losing all of my Aftershock stacks, I can now just use the ability with my Inquisitor's Staff. Also, it gives the higher tier damage and accuracy, so our Gothic Staff special does even more damage than before. This also has a side effect with the Statius Warhammer. It's an incredibly powerful item, as its special increases accuracy by so much that it's become commonplace at high level bosses where you need the accuracy. For example, Virago goes from 82.9% accuracy to 91.6% accuracy after using the hammer. The only problem with this special is that the hammer will only last for 1000 specials, meaning that each use of the spec costs about 300k to use, making it not viable everywhere. However, once it's stored in the amulet, it now has unlimited charges, meaning that once you buy one hammer, you won't have to buy another one again. So that's basically it for the effects of the amulet. Let's get into testing some specs. Before we start this, I want to be clear that when you use an item on the amulet, you lose that item forever. So don't go putting expensive specs in the amulet unless you are sure you want it in there. So with the update here, we could go ahead and try out some specials. For magic, we're going to be doing the Gothic Staff and the Ivan Staff, as those are the only two who have any potential to be good. For melee, we're going to be going through most of the dragon weapons, and on top of that, the Granite Maul and Karasi swords as kind of old school PKing items that might be good. And then for range, we're going to be going over the Dark Bow and the Magic Shield Bow. In between the Gothic Staff and the Ivan Staff, I found that it was the best to use the Gothic Staff because it does more damage and it also provides the affinity buff, so you are more accurate, and it's damage enough that it can be put into a DPS rotation for magic using your excess adrenaline, so that's very good, and it's a straight buff there as we used to use the Gothic Staff with T60 damage, and it can now hit up to 11k. For melee, there is a lot of options. I think, on my first opinion, that Dragon Dagger is the best weapon to use if you're going to put a cheap melee spec weapon in. And the fact that it's only 30k is very nice, because say if you want to switch between Gothic Staff and Dragon Dagger, it only costs you 80k to put the Gothic Staff in and then 30k to put the Dragon Dagger in. So you're only paying a little amount, and within even like an hour of PVM, that 30k will have paid for itself. It can do up to 15k damage in Zerg over the 2 hits, so you don't need to worry about the hit cap, unlike with the Dragon Mace and Dragon Long. The other possible option I would say would be the Dragon Claws, as it does considerably more damage, but it takes 50 adrenaline, so if you're not in a sort of dump rotation, then Dagger would be better, because you'll want to save your adrenaline for your Zeros Godsword spec or other intermediate thresholds. The Granite Maul has been considerably nerfed because it can't be used off global cooldown anymore. Though if you have 100% adrenaline, you activate the spec twice, but even then it's not worth it for the adrenaline cost. So if you want to spec with the hammer, do it in between. And then for ranged, the Dark Bow does hit a lot with the potential to hit max damage, 12k on both of the hits, but the problem is it costs 65 adrenaline, so that's just way too much and will ruin any sort of death swiftness rotation you might have. However, the Magic Shield Bow spec, which only takes 35 adrenaline, might actually be worth it because it can hit up to 10k in your death swiftness, and your Ascendery bolts will give you so much extra adrenaline to use that it doesn't absolutely neuter your entire rotation. As for my opinion on the amulet, I think that it's shockingly OP and that it gives you so many benefits. I think it slides in as something you would get after T99 prayers, but before getting your T92 weapons, as the effects are just that good, and at that point you'll be able to make enough GP to justify using the amulet. On that note, I would suggest using and buying this amulet if you are doing bosses above God Wars Dungeon 2, so like Next Angel of Death, Solak, Telos, Virago, all those bosses. If you're planning on doing them, it's a good purchase, but if you're gonna cap out at God Wars Dungeon 2, it's probably not the item for you. I'm very happy with my purchase and can't wait to start using it bossing later today. I'll be buying a second one to put on my Statius Warhammer once that gets down to 0%. But with that, we're at the end of the video, so have a good day, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you have any questions about things about the amulet, leave them in the comments down below.